What's up, crew? Happy Power Hour Thursday. Let me throw in a little. Can you guys even hear that? There you go. You got a little, just a little bit of music. Tommy, my man. Dude, we had a nice little forever model from the lows. I played it. I just didn't take it all the way to this 260 like it's probably gonna go. Here. Let me switch everything over to my MacBook here. What's up, Tesla Groupie? How we doing, guys? It might just be me on today. I'm just gonna be on Stocks on Spaces, unless like Casey or one of the other boys pop in. And then after the market closed, we're going to be talking with George from Prospero, who a lot of you guys know. You guys have probably heard his voice on Spaces, but you probably haven't seen him before if you haven't been on the stream. So definitely stay tuned for that. A lot of you guys are using Prospero, so it'll be a fun combo. We're just going to be talking about some picks lately and a little bit about the raise that they're doing, which I'm sure, I mean, most of you guys know about. But if you don't, they are doing a raise. So if you want to hear about that, it's going to be a fun combo. Let me bring this all up on my screen over here. And let's just X out a trading view from here. We'll keep Evan's account up in case he has any news coming out. All right. Can I share? There we go. Boom. I'm sure you probably played it, Tommy. You probably played the soup entry, didn't you? You played the soup entry into the inverse, didn't you? Because you mentioned it like when we were up here. When we were trading like 240s, you mentioned that. And I already had it marked out. I knew it was there. But I had already played. What was it? What did I play? I played this already, so I was chilling. I played this one, which was beautiful. That was a great play into these highs. Would have loved to see into this area here, but we got those highs, which was nice. I didn't think we were really going to drop below this zone, but we ended up dropping below it, tapping into that inverse on the 4 hour. And that's when we got this last move. Look at, isn't it perfect how we always come back to that change in the state? Have you noticed that? It's just on a high quality setup, we always come back to that change in the state so perfectly. It's beautiful. So I took this and went break even right here at these highs. I was trading into these highs. I got to get my PC set up so I can show you guys like all my actual freaking orders and everything. I hate not being able to show that on my MacBook. It's because I don't have everything set up here. It's all on here, but. Biomass, you're hilarious. Do I? Can't be doing that while trading, brother. Full port rocket lab. Let's take a look. Somebody mentioned Melly when we first got in there. And then we'll take a look at rocket lab. Melly I haven't looked at in a minute, to be honest. Probably since like Emp was talking about last earnings, but been taking a nice dip, that's for sure. Definitely a nice dip, but really just retesting some bigger time frame order flow. Monthly as well. I think this is a dip to get bought. Really, as long as you're not trading under technically. Yeah, you don't want to see under the low we made at 21.21. Wow, Mercado Libre is that expensive. That's crazy. I guess it could drop to 2,000 and back test. You really don't want to see under that, in my opinion. Full port Rocket Lab. Let's take a look. See. Oh, Rocket Lab's just more all-time highs. Just been flying. Yeah. You know, again, what do you do with it? You know, beautiful, absolutely amazing. If you've been trading it, holding it, awesome. But nothing to do here if you're not in it. That thing is just skyrocketing all-time highs. Such a great name. Should I put that on my radar so early and then never bought any? But that's what it is. Traded my way back from a negative 1K day today back to 0. Win is a win. Let's go. Our friend Emperador has done that plenty of times. He's the king of that, honestly. I've never seen anybody like dig themselves a hole on the day and fight back so consistently. It's crazy. This is Del Rip. I mean, Del's been ripping. If your question is, does it rip to all-time highs? I don't have much reason to think not. I mean, you clear this 165, 30, 165 area. You're pretty primed for the highs. That's like the only thing I see kind of holding us under. But what do we know? We know we've been respecting bullish order flow. So as long as we continue to do that, we expect to see highs. It is Rizzo. What's up, Rizzo?
Here we are. Ripper.
Let's see. I actually go down to 2K and then go back to 0 the same day by resetting.
Really?
Facts. Can you give me your analysis on AVGO and WDay? Yes, AVGO I think we talked about recently. It's been looking really good. What is wrong with my screen again? Hold on. Gotta refresh this. Nothing wrong with AVGO as long as we're holding this weekly spot, in my opinion, which is bottom of it is 311. As long as you're trading over 311 on this bigger time frame, I think this continues to. It's trading slower right now. It's kind of in this little bit of consolidation here in this bigger time frame zone. But I think as long as you're holding this area, you're gonna get momentum and try and break through this. This is a spot to watch out for sure. You're kind of stuck in between these two zones right now. Ideally, we're getting delivery from a higher time frame zone here. So I expect to see us run through this fair value and get to highs because this is on the lower time frame. But we'll see. We'll see how we react. Right now, it's ping pong in between the two zones. But I'm definitely bullish on AVGO. And again, as long as you're holding that 311, nothing wrong with it. WDay. Workday. Some heavy consolidation, huh? It's really jumbled. The only clarity I'm gonna really have is gonna be on this monthly, and even then, I don't have much clarity. I think as long as you're holding this zone, you're all right. Ideally, we don't even trade towards like half gap of this zone at all, which would be equilibrium of the zone. 192.83. That's really the lowest I'd want to see a trade in this area if it were to dip. Workday is just in consolidation. It doesn't really have much of a higher time frame trend moving with it right now. It's been trying to get going from these lows in 2023. Since, rebalancing from those lows to these highs, it's really just gone sideways, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's definitely healthy, but I just think it's slow. But as long as you're holding this, I have to remain more bullish for sure.
Majority those NDX is 220%.
But I long QQQ. Where was it? I have to do it on the NQ chart because I have no idea what it is on it. QQQ.
Stupid QQQ.
I longed here.
100%.
Wherever this is on QQQ, 830. I took like calls for like 25% off those lows.
Still the problem area, 250, 260s.
This past week, I'm up 32% in this account that I'm just freaking trading, basically just leverage shares in and a little bit of options. Really just QQQ if I'm doing any options. Does the guy in the bottom talk?
You could very well just fail here and go make new lows.
Yeah. Rizzo chops it up. Only when he's got something really important to say, though. How much have you made today? I don't have it all counted out yet, but 800 times 5 in those 5 accounts, plus 300 times 3. So you can do the math. I haven't been doing that well this whole month, though. Like, I mean, that's such cope. Like, I've been doing fine, but just I compare everything to my month of August, which you guys know was a really big month for me. And I just keep comparing everything to that. So nothing's good enough unless it's bigger than that right now. So I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. Not doing as good as I want to be. I need more accounts. Need to upsize, make bigger trades. But need to do that wisely and not just rush it into that.
Oh God, and ES is barely moving off the lows.
Arm's been flying. Oh, weekly consolidation from the bullish trend. Things look healthy. Things look like they want all-time highs. You're getting to live. Look at this. If ARM was I'm so sorry. If ARM was bearish, we would have respected this. It's as simple as that. If ARM was bearish, we would have tapped into this. We would have traded lower if we didn't need to trade to these highs. It doesn't mean we can't take out these highs and then try and trade lower. I wouldn't expect that, especially on this type of name. But when I look at this and I see that monthly bearish order flow was completely violated to the upside, that tells me that we need to go take whatever resting liquidity is on the other side of this order flow, which is where? Here. These highs and these highs. So pretty bullish ARM on this bigger time frame. I expect us to get to I expect us to at least trade into these highs for sure. Of course, lower time frame things can come into play, but I would expect all-time highs to come into play overall because that's where the overall higher time frame draw is. Oh, look at what we hit. Wow. And it's crazy how we perfectly reject that 260. Wow, I wish I still had longs. This was my target, my last target, guys, for the longs today that I took from down here. It was off this. Basically, I missed this here, but I saw everything I needed to see after tapping in this 170, and we came drilling back into this bullish inefficiency that we created when setting up for the long. So I ended up taking that. And I took it break even here and then got first target at these highs. I wanted 260, but got stopped in profit on this dip, which was unfortunate because, geez Louise, we go to 260 perfectly. Why? Because those are the most recent highs above these highs. It's not random. It's not like the market just decided randomly to reject here. It's rejecting here because these are the next actual highs that we sold off from in the market after displacing over these highs. Doesn't mean we can't get over them. We absolutely can if bulls are strong enough, but you're going to see that immediate rejection like that, right? And so that's why it becomes that target. I imagine it also lines up with standard deviation. I didn't even run that. We'll see. Let's see. Not really. Standard deviation lined up with first target. It did not line up anything with the last target though. So maybe we push this -4 into these highs. That's next spot over these highs. You got here and then here. And what's funny is ES just recently triggered the move. Technically this is so sloppy. I don't even want to draw that shit. It's got to run through this.
Oh, come on. Give me 290s. 290s would be nice.
TSLA. Give me 450. Oh, yeah. I want more than that, brother. Give me all time. 48.
First time we flipped the anchored VWAP from last night's high.
Something to watch. Can you make MSTR and BMNR run up, please? I know, right? Evan's asking me the same thing about BMNR. Uh-oh. I'm not going to do that. Hello, what's your strategy, please? I trade the forever model. I have a whole breakdown of it on the Wolf Trading X. If you go to the account on X, the pinned tweet is a complete breakdown of my strategy. Tesla's just all sorts of chopped up here. But it'll resolve. Quiet right now. Look at that. Pushing through 260 here. Damn.
Okay. Come on.
You're kidding me, right? IQ moving up higher after staying in that range most of the day. Yup. She back tested this big area on the 4-hour. We ended up running through. This is all bearish order flow here that we ended up running through. And so market runs through that, creates new all-time highs. But we have to rebalance to these inefficiencies that are created on the way up. It's what the market does. It's one of the reasons, core reasons the market moves. And so what do we end up doing? Drifting right back down to rebalance to what? The 4-hour inversion created. That's the low of day right now. By no means a random spot that we just decided to bounce from in any way. This is algorithmic, very algorithmic. What happens to Bitcoin if MSTR ends up going bankrupt when Bitcoin doesn't match what they're taking loans out on? Need some Bitcoin maxis in here to answer that question. I think could be interesting. Back test it within 9 points of my target and bounce. Those inversions are deadly, bro. Yeah, you gotta watch out. Can't ignore it, especially because that is an inversion that we hadn't traded back into yet. Right, so even though that was an inefficiency that we technically traded through and in, once it becomes inverse, it's now a new inefficiency, if that makes sense, Tommy. And so new inefficiency gets created. Inefficiencies still have to be rebalanced to. So what happens? That inverse gets rebalanced to, right? If this 4-hour candle ended up rebalancing to that inverse, which it never did, it may have been a different story. We might have not even needed to come down here, and we may have just held the bullish order flow initially at 183 and never seen 170. But we'll never know because that's not the way it traded. But yeah. So many puts sold on BMNR and BMNU. Oof. Where is maybe you can look that up. Maybe not. Keeping it pushing. Rizzo's. Oh, Rizzo, are you just holding this?
I want to see
all these highs here.
295. Oh, give me a fill on this last NDX. Come on.
Yeah, core we've been keeping an eye on. Talked about it yesterday. Again, for respecting bullish order flow, what continues to happen, right? We just continue to trade higher. All this got inversed. All this continues to get respected, so we try and trade higher into recent highs made and potentially into these highs next, 149, 150s. Then you got these highs after that, which is all time, right? Yeah. If you're getting over these August highs, I think you're primed for all-time highs. Do you trade futures mainly? Yeah. I'll trade options like a little bit. Intraday, not really. I used to trade them a lot more, swing trading. I mainly just trade futures and long-term invest. Might swing trade some like leverage tickers here and there. I like to do that. It's fun. Why is Lyft and Uber having such a bad day? It's not too bad. I know it seems like it because we're down 2.7%, but we're seeing consolidation. Not much is happening here for me. I would say the spot to hold is really just this area right now. Do you use prop firms? Yes, I do. We have a code with Tradeify. If you use code Wolf on Tradeify, that's one I'm using right now. I use multiple prop firms, but Tradeify is one of the ones that we're using. And you can use code Wolf, get those accounts for a little bit cheaper. Are we still in a bull market? Yes. Today's dip does not change anything, guys. Look at NQ. This is a daily candle. This is how much we're down. We're not down anything. We hit all-time highs. We are definitely still in a bull market. Look at Walmart. Yeah, M's favorite. Rebalancing from the lows. Like I told you guys, any dips yesterday, any dips that happen on Walmart should be bought, in my opinion, unless you're getting under this 97.50. Then things start to get hairy down into $90. So yeah, holding the zone is great. That's all you need. At 97.58. It's been having a little bit of a tougher time the past, 2 days? Well, I guess a little longer than 2 days, but this little range we've been in, it just hasn't gone anywhere. But nothing about this is unhealthy. Still looks good. Fuck. Can we test in these highs? We're going to find out. I'll be right back, y'all. Give me a sec, Rizzo.
Kind of tempted to put on some SPXs, like 0DTs. I think I need ES above 77. It's got like 3 points to go. My last NDX is 20 points in the money. Maybe I just hold it at the end of the day. Already did pretty well on the other 17 of them. Yeah, maybe we can just hold this. Let it cash settle.
Do we get a short off midpoint? Oh boy, that's still in play, isn't it? Oh, Loudy. Yeah, it is. We might. I'll take it. No, I won't. It's fucking 12:30, bro. I don't know about that, bro. That's a tough one.
Yeah, first time we've been over VWAP. Any VWAP, really. Since the RTH Open. Trump said we might need to throw Spain out of NATO.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Trump, those are the wrong Spanish peoples. Oh, what's he yapping about now? Or where is he yapping?
I'm trying to find that out. I don't have a video or a speech or anything. I just see him dropping shit. I don't know. Did you comment on Tesla trajectory? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not much to say. We've been sideways in consolidation, awaiting all-time highs. All higher time frame order flow continues to get respected. So you just sit back and wait. I mean, there's really not much else to say. Love Tesla. I do think we trade into those all-time highs, but we need to do something from this consolidation here. Oh, he's in the White House. Gotcha. Do you see any more pullback from here? I mean, there's always room for potential pullback, especially from consolidation. I wouldn't mind if we wanted to pull back from this area and maybe test into this zone a little bit, back into this like 406. But I don't think that happens, to be honest. Right now, we're trying our best to hold this spot here. Got a lot of mixed spots on Tesla right now. Are you worried about this head and shoulders on 4-hour charts? No, head and shoulders aren't real. Fake news. The only thing that's real is price action. Kind of like triple top ain't real, you know? It's like it's real until it ain't. Never ends up being. But no, I mean, in all reality, there's always potential for us to drop on Tesla, especially from consolidation like this. If we end up losing this area here, this bottom area, 430, I do think we're going to trade back to that 405.78. But I do think this whole zone is going to be a spot to look for to buy it. You really wouldn't want to see us trade back under 350, which I don't even expect us to try and go down all the way there, but there's always potential for it. So, be cautious, be smart. Doesn't mean just get long blindly and, hope for the best. But I still like it from here because we are continuing to hold 430 bottom of this range. I'm fine with it here. It's just, it needs to get something going, Needs to get something going. Think earnings can crush us down? Unfortunately, yeah. Definitely a possibility. Earnings volatility comes in. It might end up being a buy the dip scenario, but we might have to endure that dip beforehand, yeah. Wow, we are really picking up here. Look at this. I can't believe that inversion was the low a day, Tommy. Ah! It's insane. All the way into these relative equal highs. Now pushing in. What is this I have from earlier? Oh, this is inversion. Which now just gets deleted.
Just went 200% on the 610 calls.
Let's go.
I took most of them off.
I don't think this really stops until we get this previous 4-hour candle high, guys. But that should be full target, in my opinion, for any longs, unless you're, maybe holding runners to try and get over and go to highs, which I understand. But for me, got to be all out into this 4-hour candle high. I'm not in any longs right now, though. I already played my plays today. Damn.
Yes, do we have a chance to get frothy here up against 77? You know what?
Frothy.
Whole load today. That's just a lot of some SPX too.
Meta 750 soon? Bro, Meta's so much more bullish than people want to admit.
We're at, what, 31 on SPX? Yeah, we can't go that far out.
Meta swept monthly lows. Tapped into monthly order flow. Doesn't get sexier than that.
I'll try to buy the 6740s at 35 cents.
Fuck.
And 30 cents.
Take Meta back to 770. I'll up you on that. Not 750, 770.
And then, okay, I grabbed the 35 calls as well at $1.10.
Ran through all this. Need to close over this today.
$1.10.
That looks good.
$1.
Oh, we'll change up an order flow here. Trying to. Not quite.
This SPX is, I'm gonna just chuck some trims at like 2, be close to 100%. See if we can get that. can't drop that. What? 1,000 things at once. Do I buy SPXs in the last half hour? If I'm up on the day and feeling like a degenerate, yes. Will it get 290 for me, or do I have to hold this into MOC? What? 7 till MOC. I don't have that much time.
Yeah, see what MOC wants to do. Still respecting the spot. Smoked. Trump is done speaking at the White House.
What do I think of ASML? ASML is lovely. It's been my biggest chip position. Well, aside from MU, which I ended up taking off after earnings. I didn't freaking hold any past earnings, unfortunately. Hold a second. ASML.
Yeah, ASML's nice, man. Got the bottom of this range. Weekly lows down here. If we need to trade here, I still like it, but we could hold right here and just trade higher. Is Google okay? Oh, yeah. She's fine. It's going to take a lot to get real bearish on Google, I think, but, I mean...
Ah, there we go. Got my trims off at 2 on those SPXs. Basically 100%.
Can't really be any sort of bearish until we're trading under this on Microsoft, or on Google, sorry, not Microsoft. MOC right now.
And just hold the rest into MOC. Just pray.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you get the pop to this 288? Could be nice.
I just want 290. And DX can close above 080. That'd be nice. 30 points in the money on this last con. But we're gambling.
Amp coming in 100 points on the NQ long from
Okay.
spaces. Let's go. Oh, we tapped in. Yes.
No.
There it is. There's 88.75. This is previous 4-hour candle highs I just mentioned. This is
Like
where we should
3
trade
ticks
to.
away.
I think
we go get my
kinda need
order.
to be all out there for me. I know Rizzo's a nut and wants more. But that's all out for me at those 4-hour candle highs. IB midpoint taken. Oh boy.
I mean, I'm swinging this one anyway, but
It didn't even trigger anything because I think it automatically. I think they fixed it to where it won't trade. I don't know. I have it off anyway. I ain't doing all that. 9 minutes left.
all right.
Yes,
you know
sir.
What
What a
It was
day.
close enough. I'm gonna take a 275. Just lock in 100 points. I'll swing 3 of them. 3 of my original 8.
Solid. Yeah, mine did not. Even though I have the bots turned off, it would still like try and trigger on TradingView. It didn't even try that because I'm pretty sure they updated it and made it to where it does not trigger last 10 minutes at least, if not more. And that's a good thing. Right when you think it's over, we rip higher. Yeah, it was never over until these 4-hour candle highs got taken. I'm swinging 100K in options at all times. Damn. You're getting up to Rizzo size. You're just about at Rizzo size there. Ugh.
I usually have more notional value in NQ at all times.
Yeah.
But
What call options are you very optimistic on? Me personally, I ain't doing none of that. If I were to be just bullish from here and picking specific strikes, it would be like a month out. Give me some time to work with.
I'm going to take the rest of these SPXs at my average. I got like 10 cents profit on the rest of them, but and NDX, do I just take it?
Are you in BMNR?
Yeah, I took it. All right, out the last NDX at 41. It's $9 and $6 to 41.
By the way, big dog imbalance. 3.2 billion. The only crypto, by the way, you asked if I was in BMNR. Only crypto-related name I hold is actual Bitcoin. I'm not very fond of crypto ETFs, to be honest. I think they're great for traditional finance investors that just want exposure to Bitcoin movement. But like, if I believe in crypto, I have zero reason to buy a crypto ETF. Like, it just doesn't make sense. In my opinion, like truly believing in crypto and buying crypto for what it's for, it makes no sense to own like another crypto-related traditional finance asset. Just doesn't make sense because it goes against sheerly the reason that you would buy Bitcoin. So I'm not too fond of any ETF names or any names like that in the crypto sector, to be honest. But I respect the play. BMNR has been doing great too. I don't think it's like a bad play necessarily, or necessarily a bad investment. It's just like for me, I'm going to invest in my US stocks, of course, my SPY and QQQ. But if I want to stay diversified and actually invest into crypto, then I want to own crypto. I don't want to own an ETF of crypto that isn't actually crypto. It's a dollar. It's not crypto. So that's my whole take on that situation, to be honest. I have no reason to own those assets. Even something like coin. I love coin. But if I'm gonna own an asset like that, it's gonna be Robinhood. Coin's not a bad one though. That's one that's like kind of on the edge for me because it is a brokerage. It is technically a traditional finance asset, but it's so close to crypto that it's like.
Well, I'm gonna add to this position 260. Yeah, 260 and 255s ish. I'll risk 240. Average will probably move up to like 220. Actually, no, it'll be, yeah, like 210s. So I'll lock in like 30 points on the trade, but
Solid.
Nice 100-pointer off the lows.
Is it the same as GLD versus holding real gold? Yes. Essentially. 100%. Because if you own your gold, the only people that are getting it got to go through you. You know? Whereas your US dollar tied up into a gold stock, that shit will go bye-bye real quick if anything were to actually happen, you know? So yeah, that leads into my take. Still great assets to like trade and even own, honestly. Like if you're just a traditional finance person, you don't care about actually owning gold, actually owning Bitcoin. These are great assets to actually own if you just want the exposure. If you know that there's, you know, there's opportunity there to make money and you're just like, hey, I don't care if I'm owning Bitcoin or not. I just want to get the exposure because I know crypto can go crazy. That's okay too. I'm just not in that boat. I'm just not there. I actually believe like if I'm putting hard-earned money towards a different asset, towards gold, towards Bitcoin, I want it to actually be the real thing. I want to invest in the real thing. I want to actually have gold. I want to actually have Bitcoin, not some ETF, right? But it doesn't necessarily devalue them depending on the person that you are. For me, it's just it doesn't get into the assets that I would trade, but for you it might, right? It just depends on the person that you are. What does the chart on Lunar tell you? Luna. I mean, where are we at? Market just closed, by the way. Big rebalance from the lows. Bigger time frame. Bigger time frame. Okay, it's big enough. It's an interesting spot. Intuitive Machines is not like this super easy stock, I would say, to be honest, to be trading. It's not super directional. It hasn't really picked a true direction. It's trying to look more bullish, in my opinion. I think I do like this bullish. Again, I know it's bigger time frame, guys, but just bear with me because it's relevant. Bear with me. Actually, that's a good start. We need to get over this zone. This 1302. Really, we need to get over 1595, but it's a good start. And from here, you can get a move from 13 to 15. But I really think overall, you need to clear this zone here. All this bearish price action, you need to clear through this to get really bullish. This is a tough one though. It's just not much direction, you know, on this bigger time frame even. Trying to move higher though, we'll see. That's a tough one for me though. Your thoughts on bull for ELT long-term hold? Bull. So we talked about this the other day. More for the shorter term, on the short-term bounce here. I do like the spot that we held. It's a good spot. And if we end up getting back through this 14 bucks, Webull could be looking pretty bullish from these lows. In terms of long-term, I think it can do well. But if you're trying to I see a lot of people trying to buy up Webull sheerly thinking it's going to be the next Robinhood, just because it's another brokerage and the chart kind of looks the same as what it used to. It was what Hood used to look like. I'd be very careful with that thought process, to be honest. It's not. I'm not saying you are, by the way. I'm just saying I've seen a lot of that, and I don't really love it there. I don't love Webull long term, but that's also because I don't truly believe in it. If I'm gonna invest in some sort of brokerage, I already have an investment in a brokerage, or it's gonna be something like Robinhood. So Webull just doesn't really get me excited for what they have. They do have, I will say, Webull is better for day traders in terms of customization and day trading and the way things work on that app. But in terms of a company and stock itself, I think Robinhood blows Webull out the water. They're outdated on a lot of their day trading stuff for sure. They don't have as much stuff as Webull in that area, but they're getting there. And I don't know. I like Webull. I like Robinhood a lot better. Why would I put my money in China? Well, Well, market's closed. Let's get George in here. What's up, George?
Long day, right?
Long day, man. Long day. How's it been for you?
I mean, the portfolio is doing well. We're hitting all the right things. We've been pretty even long short this week, and we're back over 80% above the market. We were it's been like 3 or 4 months since we've been sitting sitting in the 60s and 70s. I don't think we ever hit the 50s. But yeah, back up. I mean, an 80 is a nice number because we finished the year 77% above the market last year. So we're want to beat it this year. We've been a little below, but yeah, we've been our longs. I mean, especially that alert system, like UUU, INOD, ASTS, all came from that new alert system. And I mean,
nice.
ASTS, we knew of it, but the alert system actually pushed us over the edge because it was running, and I was like, I mean, I don't know if it still has, but our AI is pretty confident in it. And yeah, since Friday, it's already run an additional close to 30%.
So did you end up swinging some of those?
Yeah.
Were those swing trades? Oh, beautiful. Love that.
Yeah, I mean, we're still in them. But yeah, I mean, I think UUU is probably the best ad for the alert system because typically I don't it when we added it, it was a 77 upside and 73 net option sentiment, which is not normally the zone where we do things. But the AI just we tell it to give it our reasons, and it just made enough good points that I'm like, yeah, all right.
Give it a shot.
You're very convincing. Yeah. I mean, what it told me, it was it told me a few very important facts. It said that it would have taken a very long time to research on my own. It said we no longer were buying uranium from Russia, and UUU was the largest uranium producer in the U.S. and spot prices of uranium were about $80, and everybody's forecasting them to be between $90 and $100 by the end of the year. And I was like, okay, so largest producer, reason for increased demand, and prices are going up.
No brainer.
It became, it changed from this stock's at all-time highs, how much further can it go, to seeing the really compelling reasons for that, beyond the signals, because that's always my struggle.
You're seeing the reasons on why the investors are jumping back into it, right? And it's why we see stocks sometimes you're like, it can't go up more, and they just keep buying it, and you're like, how is this thing going at all-time highs? It's because things like this are happening that we might not even see on the timeline or know of, right? So it seems like that AI is doing really well for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, especially something I mean, I don't know how many people are staying read in on the uranium today, where we're
I'm not looking at that at all. I'll tell you.
Yeah, we used to buy from Russia. We're not buying from Russia anymore. Yeah, it's pretty cool that you could just kind of have that information condensed for you.
Agreed. Yeah, it's funny. We've this whole time we haven't really had any earnings. It's been, we're past earnings season. We're starting to get back into the new earnings season now, and we've had a lot to talk about still the whole time, which has been fun. So, I'm curious, just overall, what are you seeing right now that's getting you interested for this new earnings season coming up? Are there any big plays? I know I've been looking at Baba consistently, just seeing that tick up on the short-term bull list all the time. UNH has been another one that's been on there consistently with healthcare. Those names have continued to do well. Do you see any like further continuation, some of these China healthcare names into the earnings season, or what are you seeing out there?
I just always, I don't think I'm ever gonna be. I can try running it through my like perplexity like game theory earnings filter, but like I'm more like I've played China stocks more this year, but I can never get comfortable with China and earnings
Scary.
just because it's like they can put whatever numbers they want, right? Like there's no like, I mean, it's not like our system isn't perfect, right? By any means, but at least like you could get into some trouble for not reporting the numbers right. In China, you might be asked to report the numbers wrong. Right. So it's just like, or report them in a certain way. I mean, granted, that does kind of lean, like that does lean to the bull side, kind of. But it's not always like it's not always bullish, because like sometimes if you overreport one quarter, it means you might have to underreport the next, or you just like keep like you can't lie about it forever or miss. Like a lot of accounting, like I've been trained accountant, like a lot of accounting is like lying in legal ways or just like moving things to certain quarters or whatever. So China and earnings, I mean, like there's other people that probably can make more money on those names because they can get comfortable, but I can't. I'm actually really interested in like the AI earnings and some names that have become like some of our like big names now. NBIS, INOD, which is like the newest one. Like I've been really impressed with their business. We're in cipher mining, but you could just as easily be talking about like iron. What's the other one? There's one that's always, I think NBIS is kind of in that other one.
Yeah.
But like I feel like we have all these high level deals announced, right? You know, the weird, I think I actually saw a really great post on LinkedIn today talking about how like these AI like deals are kind of like mortgage-backed securities, where everybody was like, one person is paying the other and they're increasing in value. Yeah. It was pretty funny. Actually, I should pull it up just because it's like I
pull it up. You should be able to share your screen if you want to share anything.
Yeah, I gotta get it because I just like I love this picture. I was like, this is a really good. It's a friend of mine too that he often shares like really good AI stuff. He used to work at NASA.
Okay, gotcha.
And let me see. Can I share my screen? I'm pressing the button. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I don't know how well you can see this. I'd love to be able to zoom more. Oh, there we
got it.
Yeah. And he like
I saw this.
Yeah.
I was scrolling.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, like when you lay it out like that, it's actually pretty funny. But you know, whatever you have to say about how bubbly this picture is, like we have these high level announcements, right? It's gotta come downstream, right? It's got like all that money getting tossed around. Like, you know, yeah, there was the big NBIS, you know, Microsoft announcement, but like, I think all these companies are about to drop like higher guidance. Like I'm tempted to just play all of them. Like
so you don't miss one, right?
Yeah,
it's like get them all.
Exactly. Like if iron hits, I'm almost definitely gonna like play with that house money and play cypher. Like I don't know the order, but yeah, like that's what I'm excited about, because those companies, Innodata is also a really cool company. They're doing something like they're a bit like unique in terms of their approach to building out these systems. And they're a smaller, like what I love about they're still 2.5 billion market cap. They started to ink big deals with the major providers, right? Like how long ago was MBIS? Like, I don't know, like maybe like a $5 or $10 billion market cap company. Like I feel like it's not that long ago. And then that one deal,
it was just recently that it's up on like my radar on the everyday basis, you know, talking in spaces.
Yeah. So I think like Innodata, like this quarter might be the next one that, you know, that it's just like, it's one of those things. And what I love about these kind of trades, it's not guaranteed, right? but the upside is just so much higher than the downside in like, unless they have some like accounting scandal, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You
how
know,
much
unless it's
downside-
absolute hell
Yeah.
that comes out,
Yeah.
we're all right. Like,
Exactly.
things are
How
gonna be
much
fine.
downside, Innodata like grew 79% Q over Q like last quarter. Like, as I said, they're starting to get deals with these larger providers. Like, how much downside does that company really have versus like the upside? It could easily, like, I could easily see it being a $25 billion market cap company, like by the end of the year, or even after earnings, right? Like, this has to come downstream, right? These, a lot of these places, what they have in common, CoreWeave too, but I've actually liked these new ones more than CoreWeave, because actually, if you compare like NBIS to CoreWeave, you actually have a real PE ratio, whereas CoreWeave is not supposed to be profitable until I think 2027, maybe.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue when you're an investor, right? Looking at those things, that's not good.
At least the relative value, right? CoreWeave's a great company. It's a very exciting company, but it's just like, wouldn't you rather be in a company that has a PE today, like versus one that like is going to have one in a few years? But like, yeah, that's what's crazy. And I actually I met a senior executive at MBIS. I was at an AI conference. I'm trying to get him to come on a live stream with me. He said
That'd be fun.
he both said he would, but he also said he had to run it by compliance, which is always a nice excuse. Like, it could be real, right? He could be really needing to run it by compliance, or like he could also just not really want to do it. But yeah, the way he described the business of like as being like more of a software business than an infrastructure business is very interesting, right? Because it's like, and by the way, he took that right out of NVIDIA's playbook, right? They did that transition like masterfully. Like, we're a software company, not a hardware company. And by the way, they that's more and more true.
Oh, for sure. Day. Yeah, they played into that. Absolutely.
But they were like branding themselves that before it was like really true. It was like aspirational, and then it was real. I mean, they always had the CUDA like software, but like before they were really building data centers and like the like chips like Blackwell that are so optimized like for these very niche high performance situations. Like it obviously became a lot more true. But like, yeah, it's just like, it would be one thing if these places weren't getting the big contracts already, right? Exactly, and the major players weren't coming, and you're like, oh, like, are the big guys ever going to care about this? Are they going to build it themselves? Are they just going to like?
But we know they care about it. We know they want it. So
yeah, like after those orders start coming in, it's like if Microsoft wants 10 billion, like who else? Like other people want a piece of that. They're not the only game in town. Like Microsoft has a lot of choices of who's going to build out their infrastructure. And the fact that they went with, a smaller provider, really, I mean, not as small of a provider now, but really speaks to the quality of NBIS's technology.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. So maybe after this earnings season, right, maybe we do see what you're talking about, and all these companies really get this kind of blow off top price action, and things are looking really good. Going into the next year, I'm curious what you see happening with the market a little bit. I know it's hard to tell, obviously, but we have kind of everything at all-time highs here. We have, crypto at all-time highs, gold's at all-time highs, the market's at all-time highs. Going into, I mean, I know we're not there yet, but we're essentially closing up this year and getting into a new year in these next few months. What does that tell you? Is there anything, when you see all these different assets all flying at all-time highs, does that give you any sort of like, oh, we should watch out for this? Or what are you looking for when you see that?
I just kind of like, I'm so appreciative of the Prospero platform that we built, right? Because like, honestly, one of the reasons we have things like net option sentiment, especially for SPY and QQQ, is that previously was a hard question to answer as the market went up. But like this market, especially what's happening now, right? We're literally in a government shutdown, which is like, those of us that have been in the market for a long time that remember other potential shutdowns, potential shutdowns used to send the market down a fair amount as they approached an increasing amount, right? We're in it and the market doesn't seem to care, right? That is kind of just a scary data point on the disconnect with how stocks are valued and the macroeconomy, right? It's almost like a complete detachment at this point. So, like, when you ask that kind of question, even if you ask the most skilled macroeconomists in the world, right? Previously, they could probably give you a better answer and just be like, okay, these are the factors that have to occur in order for this to happen. This is what we've seen, but we're off the map at this point.
Yeah.
Right? Like
We're trying to create new
tells you-
blueprints for the
Yeah.
game right now. There's nothing left. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care what anybody says about their ability to like understand the macroeconomy. Like nobody knows what the hell is going to happen here. Right. So that's why, this week, and even today, net option sentiment, softened more. And we're always just adjusting on the fly, right? We're adjusting. We added a few more shorts. We've been even short long this week. I was considering going even a little further in that direction, but since those metrics have been, especially volatile this year, I try not to overreact to just like one day of low readings. And actually, I put together this graph today.
Yeah, bring it up. Feel free.
That I think is pretty helpful to look at, because QQQ net option sentiment has been, that's the wrong one. When I'm on this computer, it's very hard.
No worries, you're good. Where's the QQQ net option sentiment?
Okay, I got it. No, I have like a better graph than you have here.
Gotcha.
Okay, here we go. We are gonna pull this up. So this adds pretty good context to what I'm talking about. So if you look at this, right, you can actually see like we had a great lead of like this first run up, right? But if you look here on these little minute things, we had before this drop here, we definitely had QQQ net option sentiment soften, right? If you look here, also it went to 0 before this drop. I mean, these are not significant drops, but we do have QQQ leading. And so this is the only time it touched 0, and then it touched 0 today. And we haven't seen much of a drop yet. So that would give me an indication that we at least have a small drop coming. But also, like, you see, it goes down, it goes back up pretty quick. These drops have been short. So
it's always a dip to be bought.
Yeah. That's why we're not like over adjusting, and we've gone from like the net long to kind of even. If it continues tomorrow, if I wake up tomorrow and it's still at 0, I'll probably go more short than long. But yeah, I mean that's the nice thing about the tech that we've built. I don't have to be like, oh, either I'm all long or I'm just like preparing for doomsday, right? We slowly like adjust down as low option sentiment numbers sustain. And yeah, I mean, one of the things that I always kind of like, I'm really proud of this, because I think it's one of the coolest uses of Prospero technology ever. But you'll note the date on this newsletter, Don't Trim the Hedges, a couple days before Liberation Day, right? And we were telling people like literally like, here's how you hedge the market with like SCC and SQQQ, because some shit's about to go down. So yeah, like that's the nice thing. Like, am I like worried overall that a bigger decline is coming at some point, and it's going to be sharp and probably feel pretty sudden, as they always do? Yes. Like, but is that a kind of a crappy asset allocation given how good the market has been now to overweight that possibility? Absolutely. So that's the nice thing about just being like, look, I've already seen this work really well this year for a big kind of like sudden downturn. Because like as easy as it is to look at now, like that was, nobody necessarily knew like that was going to be like so sharp and so severe and have like really good data on that before and like leading up to it. Because yeah, that was I did show that, but I should actually show one more picture from that letter. That's pretty cool because it wasn't just that letter. It was also like, look at how cool this is. Like when the market was still at like 595, SPY net option sentiment had, gone down to zero before this first, big dip, even before Liberation Day. So yeah, I think that like normally, like honestly, when I wasn't as good of a trader before because I was always over managing the risk, and now I'm just kind of like and probably weighing the macroeconomy too much, even back then when it mattered more. That's what happens when you know too much macroeconomics.
Yeah,
I think
sometimes you just need to
coming. The disaster is coming.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to look at some of the flow and the chart and, figure
Yeah.
out some risk to reward and just take the position and not overthink, everything too much. I can get caught up a lot with that, with what we're doing on spaces and then trying to like intraday trade all day, it can be a similar issue. So yeah, using all that, all your signals is going to be so much easier. I'm curious. So when you do get that drop, we haven't seen that drop yet. So we are expecting a little bit of something to come on NQ.
Yeah.
And that's where I love that, because I know most of the signals on Prospero, I have generally used for, a little more swing trading style for the most part. I know there's some day trading metrics in there for sure, but I feel like this specifically is really good for the day traders because I know kind of expecting like a bigger day down, maybe a little bit of a flash day down when it does come. And I can use my technical analysis to say, okay, well, maybe this is the day we're setting up this way on the bigger time frame, whatever confluences I may have. And that can kind of keep me open to that. And as well, it's going to keep me from putting on any like super heavy long positions going, into something like that before I see that dip. So, but what you've seen in the past is that they've gotten bought up pretty quickly. What do you know what the time frame is around, like how quick those get bought up usually?
I mean, this pattern, like it would stand to reason that tomorrow is going to be a red day based on what we're seeing. With the only caveat being, before I would bet on that too much, I would wait to see the first reading at 940 of that. Because in this market, I've seen it be very bearish, pop there up to the, maybe not bullish, but open, be at zero at close and be up to like 20 or 30 at open, which would mean that it was just like a blip down. People were hedging and we're back to the buy the dip market.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we had like 3 billion to the buy side too at the close today on S&P. So it's interesting, right? You never know. We might wake up tomorrow morning and that zero really isn't as much as we thought. So yeah, super interesting there.
That's why I'm like, I used to like play net option sentiment. Like the first year when we were actually trading in 2022 and we made 52% in 3 months, I was just trading QQQ SPY pretty much. Awesome. And basically it was a very simple trade. If I saw a trend like up on QQQ price and like a trend down on QQQ net option sentiment, I would buy options on SQQQ. like very levered, like a lot of capital on the line for small moves. But yeah, like that's how precise it was before we started to get like a lot more volatility and what I'm calling like the dual headline risk market. And I'm calling it the dual headline risk market because that's how hedge funds are thinking about this to their like LPs when they have to present to their investors, because they're hedging very quickly on bad news and also pulling them off very quickly, or even, you know, any kind of bearishness, because they don't want to have to go in their quarterly meeting and explain why they lost money
Exactly.
shorting the market at all-time highs. And they also don't want to explain why they missed the market going down after it had run up so much. Like, either way is going to be a very bad conversation for them. And by the way, we wrote about this a few weeks ago. 65% of funds are losing to the S&P.
That's
This year.
insane. 65%. That's way bigger than you would think for, you know, what we would call, I guess, professional traders, you know, big like hedge funds, like they can't get it done. 65%. That's insane. It just,
It's a zero-sum game, right? So
yeah,
like there's always going to be like, you know, there's got to be things on both sides. But what that means is that retail is on the other side of those trades winning. Like, and they're losing. And that's the like fun and interesting thing
love that.
about this year.
It's so cool. Yeah, and just to talk about it, I mean, obviously, we've talked about this market at all-time highs. Hey, I was mentioning all these assets are at all-time highs, guys, and I hope you're enjoying it because my long-term's very happy. And but I always say enjoy the times now and stack your cash now. And I'm not any big bad bear. Trust me, you can't be here. But at some point, we're gonna get that catalyst that turns us around, right? Gives us a nice dip in this market, and I want to be ready for it. And that's where you don't want to get caught having no cash on the sidelines and not being able to invest. But what's really great right now, there's not many investments to be picking up unless it was Meta yesterday, maybe off that monthly spot we were talking about in Spaces. That was a good spot, but even for an investment, it's a little too high. But I know we can be investing in Prospero now, George, and I wanted to kind of talk about that here on the stream. So why don't you introduce the investment into Prospero a bit? Because I know a lot of people in the chat are already using the app for free, which if you guys aren't in the chat, app's completely free. Go onto the App Store, type in Prospero AI, start using the app right away. But you guys can actually own shares of equity in the company, which I think is super awesome, and get some trade alerts along with it. So George, you want to kind of introduce that to everybody here?
Absolutely. So basically the way we've been built has been, you know, really user driven. We try to put our customers first. Like, obviously a lot of the stuff is free, but we're starting to monetize more. And like we really wanted to make sure as we grew, as we started to do paid products, that we were really differentiating and creating some really high value stuff. So we did have our investing letter at $10 and our trading letter at $20, but the trade alerts are going to release at $50 a month. And I mean, the 10-day trial that we gave a bunch of people, I mean, it could have gone any better. 82% of the picks beat SPY. The annualized return over SPY was 533% on like a 4.54 hold days. Like, actually since then, ASTS has gone in and been like a 30% gain. So we might be at like, I haven't recalculated it, but we might be at like 1,000% above the market on those alerts.
That's amazing. And these have been live for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
And it's a cool system because, you know, what I say is the high value of Prospero is that we filter information. Like, we give people 10 signals. It's not a sea of information. We're trying to get you the 10 signals that we feel are the most high value, that also paint a complete picture quickly about a company. And so we've taken those signals that are very unique. I don't think there's anything else like them out there in terms of what I would say is the blend of efficacy and simplicity. And where we say things like that is, you know, an LLM is going to give you an easy answer quickly. But what I've observed with LLMs is, A, they're terrible at understanding risk. They're just going to give you, like, you might love your LLM picks in this bull market because it's just basically giving you the highest upside stuff. But that doesn't do well when the market changes, from what I've seen. And then, you know, even you ask them to compare stocks, like I've seen products out there that'll just give you like a PE ratio when you're asked to compare stocks, and like that's an old number. That's kind of a waste, I think. You're taking modern technology and delivering old numbers with it. So, you know, we're not quite as simple as that, but we're way more simple than like a lot of charting products, alert products, you know, dark pool prints, things like that are a large learning curve. So like, I think we are a really good blend of those two things. And the trade alerts are just the next gen, because that thing that I said they're really good at, like, and we talked about with like UUU at the start of this, right? They're very good at figuring out like high upside potential, figuring that out, actually looking at the macro conditions really well of a company and like looking into the future and future growth and just like crystallizing that for you much faster. So we're taking that, and then what our signals are really good at is filtering out, risks, filtering out, downsides, whether they be risks in the options market or social sentiment or, long-term upside that looks at like, what analysts think, what long-term options think, profitability growth, all that stuff. We can actually, by combining those systems, I think obviously the performance, speaks for itself, even better than our newsletter picks. But, we'd expect that because this is a modern system we've been working on for 2 years, making sure that not only could we offer that upside, but it also managed risk really well. And I think I can pull up. What one of those alerts.
I was gonna ask. I wanted to kind of showcase one. I know it's an exclusive thing, but maybe one of the alerts that have already been used. I would love to see what it kind of looks like and what people can look forward to.
People can see what I'm talking about in terms of like what kind of things get identified. And I mean, I can't show all of this. Obviously, I can just kind of explain it. But maybe I can actually. I actually think I can pull up a lot of them in one email. I was going to show just one.
Is there a tutorial on how to use Prospero platform? You've done a lot of those, right, George?
Yeah. If you go into any one of our if you go into any one of our letters, there's a section about like our performance and everything. And yeah, maybe it's good. I'll just walk people through that and how to do it. So if you go in and I love the newsletter today, the perils of copy trading. I could have just done that one. So you go, there's always like this intro, and then we like talk about our performance, and then right there, and I can grab the link. It's like everything you could ever, there's text, there's video, like the difference between the difference between the newsletter and the thing. How do I private chat here? I'll just send it to you, Jordan. I don't really want to post
no worries here.
But that's there. And then I can also show, like, we can just go through some alerts. Like, what's cool about this is there's lots of different information, right? So this is TGNA, and it's talking about like the AI is just elevating different kinds of things. This one, it's looking at, different projections, revenue, macro things like TV viewership, right? And then you can go.
There is so much information in this, by the way, like, because I compare this to like a Discord alert, from one of my favorite traders or something. And this is 10 times the alert I would ever get in any Discord. And I give alerts in my own Discord as well. Like, and I'm never typing out this much, right? I don't have time to. I'm trading. And so having this much information already is amazing. You're doing better than, everybody else kind of in this business of providing kind of trades like this, and signals. So it's amazing.
Yeah. And it's cool. And like one thing that I want to highlight, right? You saw the last one was kind of more cyclical about the business. This one, I was actually asking it like to compare a few different stocks because I was thinking about adding all three of these. And it gave me this really interesting comparison where it was just like, oh, actually, if I look at these, on the method of like where analysts consider the price versus where it is, like that was a strong thing that got me into NBIS. That was a nice gain. I think this Blackstone one is pretty interesting. Like, look at this. It highlighted there, and I had no idea. I live and breathe the markets, but I had no idea about Blackstone's like office property deterioration and concentration. And I also had no idea it was trading at a high multiple relative to BlackRock, which looks good in our signals. So I even just showed you like 3 alerts, and the AI system was just elevating vastly different information about them. And that's what's cool. And that's what's cool as a supplement to our signals, because here our signals are. What their strength is they're consistent, and they offer you a framework to understand everything within the same set of evaluation criteria. And then it's supplemented by this other system that's just like, I'm just going to pluck out whatever the most important information about a stock is and put it in front of you to help you find confluence, make a decision. So I think that's what's so cool about the system. And
It's amazing stuff. Gosh, what's up?
Yeah. I was going to say, like, we are going to link it back to the crowd fund before. And like, yeah, the cool part about it, I think there's only 12 of these left. So we've already had 88 people invest at the $300 level. That's the best deal to get the alerts, where you basically get a $50 product for free for, 4 months with your equity investment. Or said differently, it's a $300 investment. The product would be $200 to get it for 4 months, and you can't even buy it right now. So you're getting it first. And then you're basically, if you buy the alerts anyway at $200, you're basically getting a 66% discount on the crowd fund and the valuation, because you would buy the alerts anyway. So yeah, I think especially with this trial, like, we're always like, I feel like sometimes I even annoy my own team, where I'm like, no, I'm not ready to release the product yet. I want to like put it through the paces more. And like, certainly some of the people that I've been talking about.
I love it though. You want to back test things. You want to make sure it works before you throw it out to everybody to, for them to use, which I think we all appreciate, because I mean, there's too many people that are throwing half-assed work out there for others to use, and it doesn't actually work, So I think we appreciate it, George. It's really good stuff. I just wanted to share the page real quick too. Let me see if I can get this up. Here we go. By the way, for everybody in the audience, total of $288,927 has been raised. There's 278 investors, which most of those are you guys in the chat. So love to see that you guys are taking advantage of the investment. Like I always say, it's a $250 minimum investment. Obviously, $300 minimum for the signals. I haven't seen a better priced private investment come across our radar ever. So. And it's right within our niche, right? It's not like a company that's kind of outside the niche, which still some of those companies can be great for private investments in the future, right? But this is right in our alley. It's trading, it's signals, it's an app that we use every single day. You guys hear us on Spaces constantly using Prospero. So I really urge you guys, I pinned the link in the top of the chat. If you want to go over to the screen that I'm on, there's a ton of information on here. Obviously, you can take time and just go through all this yourself. And these are all the different tiers that you have for investment size. So you guys can choose whatever works for you. George, you want to talk about the investment tiers a little bit here and what all these really mean?
Yeah. I mean, on the lower levels, you're going to get some alerts. You start to get some swag as it goes up. I actually think something to highlight on the $1,000 level, if you like Prospero and what we're doing, like we're gonna invite everybody at the $1,000 level or above to build our product roadmap. We're gonna get everyone together and say, these are all the things we're considering building. Do you have any other ideas? We want to build what you want, right? So I think that strategy summit is really, really cool, because we're gonna come out of it with you guys kind of deciding if there's certain features that you want in Prospero. That's a great level to come in at, because your voice is gonna be heard, and we're going to leave that summit like with our new roadmap. Like that's what my commitment is there. And,
so that's really the next project then, I guess after this is kind of taking the ideas from that summit and just implementing everything from that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we are very user driven. I mean, the only I want to get to the reviews, because I think that's interesting.
Oh yeah,
funny story.
Here,
I like telling about. Yeah, maybe you can scroll through the reviews as I'm talking through it. You go up.
Are they
it's
up?
Like a tab.
Where are they?
Yeah, it's at the top. Yeah, there you see.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Got you.
So one of the only main thing we didn't build is buy, sell, hold ratings, and that's because we almost did. A lot of people wanted them, and we were just like, okay, wait a second. Let's see what level people actually like, what the success rate people want it to be. And we asked them, it's like, what would you expect a buy rating to perform at percentage of time right? And everybody said like most people said 60%, and more people said 70 or 80% than said 50. And there's a saying on Wall Street that's like, you're right 51% of the time, you can start a hedge fund. So everybody basically wants an impossible product. So we actually figured out a way around that. That's the newsletter picks. The newsletter picks are, they're very consistent. Versus SPY benchmarks, they performed between 58 and 60% the last 4 years. So we're right at that level that people want, but we're doing it in a way that we can actually deliver on that promise, right? It's very different to slap a buy rating on 1,000 stocks and be right at a very high percentage versus filtering down our signals, having my, value investing kind of mind placed on top of that. So, that's what we always try to give people what they want, but sometimes what people want is not possible and you have to figure out a way around that. But these reviews that you're showing, like, even if you're just like, no, I don't want to invest, like, I recommend going and reading these reviews. They're all verified reviews. These are people that have put their hard-earned dollars into the crowd fund. And you can see, like, these reviews range from Prospero, like, I was a bad investor. Prospero taught me how to become a good investor, like, all the way up to, people like Jordan that are traders that have their own systems that say, this enhances my system. Even in different ways. You hear traders saying they use it in different ways. Like, I have people saying that it helps them in the ideation phase. I think that's where Jordan is sometimes.
Right here, Emp was saying the other day, Rivian bear pick on Prospero kept him and several of our other friends out of a bad trade there. Using it even just keep us out of trades that we maybe were looking at and we're like, that doesn't really look like we want to take any part in that right now. It helps a lot with that, just saving our money in the first place.
I think there's a review in there that maybe you can find. It's Jared Kirk. And he's a trader that says he just uses it for, there it is, that he uses it mainly for, like, he's a successful trader. He mainly uses it like for just like ES, like, and he does other things. So there's like, I know plenty of users that are just like, I got my own system, but I look at QQQ and SPY and at option sentiment every day, often. So I think that's really the cool thing about it. And that's what makes what we're doing so unique, because I don't know any other platform that someone's like, I use the same signals to improve as a beginner investor as people that are expert traders use the same exact.
It's usually like beginners start one place and the experts evolve into another place. And it's like the big kids section and the little play kids section here, right? And everybody's separated. Whereas this, it just puts everybody together and says it doesn't matter if you're a beginner, it doesn't matter if you're experienced. This can work for all of you and be a part of the arsenal for everybody. So,
and that's like amazing. Where we always start. It's like it's the combination of power and simplicity, right? That it's just like we can meet people by making it simple that need things to be simple, but they're also powerful for people that don't need things to be simple.
100%. Let me get back over here. We'll zoom out of this. But I just wanted to ask, let me get out of this screen real quick. I'm all screwed up in the screen. I wanted to ask, though, just that obviously this round is still going on. You still got how many days left? Like 40 or so?
21 days.
21. Yeah, it's getting close. It's getting close. So 21 days left. Obviously, guys, if you haven't invested yet and you're interested in the information we've been talking about, that link is pinned up top with the website that we were just at. And you guys can really deep dive all in there. But George, what's the plan after this investment? I know you're going to do that summit and start to implement a lot of the takes from the crew that you get there. But what's the overall, goal after this round is up and you're taking steps in the next direction?
You mean after I sleep for a week?
Yeah, after you take a little rest. Yeah, hibernate.
I'm gonna sleep for a whole week and then we'll get back to work. No. So yeah, I mean, the really exciting thing is, we're going to actually release trade alerts to everyone, right? Like, this is just like, we're going to have that. We'll have our testers, maybe about a month. And then we're going to start, using it for marketing dollars. Like right now, we really only market on X and concentrate there. because we're known, and like we like that people like have used it for years, right? It's very different like hearing from someone like, oh, like I've used this for a few years versus getting like an ad on Facebook or something, and you're just like, what the hell is this? Like I get those ads. Like I get so many ads that are like, oh, like we're beating market, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's bullshit, right? So like, I don't want to be that person that's providing like zero context and is in just like, unfortunately, like, we genuinely care about helping people and helping them learn, but there's so many people that don't, that like a lot of that stuff is white noise. It's for ETFs too. There's a lot of
I was going to
ETFs in
ask,
there.
I'm curious, is there any thought of, in the future, I know it's not a focus right now, but maybe in the future, is there a way to do some sort of signals on something like crypto, or I guess you wouldn't need it for futures because that's essentially, and QQQ and SPY, but I'm curious if there's a way to get into the crypto market with all of this as well.
I mean,
Besides
there
like the
is.
crypto TradFi names, I guess,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's really helpful. Like
that's
actually just getting
the way
like
to do it right
like,
now. Coinbase,
it would actually be really interesting. Like maybe this will come up at the product summit. But it would be interesting to just see like what look at like a basket of crypto stocks. And what the trend lines are those. But honestly, when I'm wondering about crypto, I'll look at the following things. I'll look at Coinbase, I'll look at Iron, I'll look at Cypher, I'll look at Mara, I'll look at Riot. I'll cruise around. There's a few other ones that
I'm sure you can do the same thing for things like gold as well, just using GLD and some of the ETFs there in that area. So
I've
there's
added
ways around
gold
it.
ETFs a few times.
Tell
Because
me,
they've looked.
we didn't even talk about that. You got any thoughts on just gold recently? Are we going to 5,000? Is it ever going to stop? What do we finally got a little bit of a pullback recently, but if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them.
This came up on the Prospero live stream, and I mean, maybe with QQQ, SPY, and option sentiment, I might get into it a little more. But basically, what was talked about is like, do you want to get on this? And I was like, in theory, yes, especially if I become more nervous about like the shutdown or anything like that. In practice, not so much, because I was like, let me check something, and I checked on Cypher mining in 1 month versus RGLD. And Cypher mining was up like 30%, and RGLD was up like 10%. And I was like, that right there is the difference. Like I'm not getting into gold right now when I can make 30% on ASTS in a few days, when I could make I think we got into Cypher mining on 9/17, and we've been up 40% since we get on 9/17. So like 45%. So yeah, like as long as we can find growth names doing that, like gold is less interesting. The second that the market starts losing some confidence, it's very compelling, right? Because gold right now is the only thing that I think offers you both like good upside now and even better upside if like this shutdown goes on and intensifies and people get more nervous. So that is like, I mean, especially if you're pure long, obviously we're long short, so we worry less about that. But if you're pure long and you don't have like 20% of your portfolio in gold right now, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. You gotta be able to own some of these other assets, because look at what it's doing for some people's portfolios, right? And I think, owning even a small amount is better than owning none. And I'd rather allocate a little bit of risk towards it than have none at all. So I'm with you there. This is just one last question from Emp here. On the actual signals, I'm curious, maybe I'm sure it would just kind of same answer go along with all the crypto and oil or gold ETF names, but with the actual signals themselves, is there any chance of getting maybe actual signals for maybe something like NQ or crude oil on the actual trade signals?
Yeah. I mean, we could definitely do that. Like, and it's actually a good segue into like crypto, because like
it could be the way to kind of get into that market.
Well, no, those are like special builds, right? And I'll give you like the level of lift. Um, there's a pretty, we're very options derived in terms of what we're good at, and especially institutional option sentiment. So that exists really well on something like crude oil, but it's like it's not a one-to-one in terms of like we could scale it with net option sentiment because it behaves very different. It moves on like throwing it right into that scale, even though it's like pricing, open interest, stuff like that. There would want to be some special editions that I made for that and understand and reading special news sources and definitely like crawling, experts that talk about it would be a big part of it. I mean, you'd probably want to read like a lot of, read with bots, a lot of Middle Eastern newspaper publications to get a feel for the supply side for sure. Then crypto is a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
Because like one of my favorite stories about like when I was playing around with crypto predictions was like I'll noodle around with like a lot of stuff. Like I'm not the I like to joke I'm not the best data scientist by any means, but I'm a very enthusiastic data scientist, and so I'll play around with a lot of different models. And the crypto price models behave more weirdly than any price models I've ever seen. Generally price models you'll see a lot of similarities between even like commodities and stocks. There'll be some nuance and some difference, but a lot of the same basic results. Crypto is in its own category, and
it's all over the place.
Yeah, when I started to look at it, I was like, oh, maybe I could get a feel for like in these pricing models, like get a feel for the options. And then I looked and I was just like, oh my God, there's like no central area for like all of these, like for all the options. And then, when I started to ask around, I hear like, there's a concept called like off book. And actually before dark pools existed, there used to be a lot more off book stuff where basically like, institutions were creating a derivative, right? It would just basically be like a bet, right? You wouldn't have to transact a large amount of stock. You'd just be like, I'm betting that Meta is going up and you're betting that it's going to go down, and it never has to cross the market. To be clear, I'm not accusing any specific institutions of doing that because that is illegal. Just that I heard that things like that happened a lot more before dark pool, and you're never going to fully get rid of that. I mean, even if it's just like a bet amongst traders that are friends.
Exactly. You're never going to get rid of that.
You have to know that exists, right? It's illegal, but like in smaller amounts, right? It's like there's not really any harm being done. But in crypto, I heard it's like there's a lot more of that happening, because there's no real regulations. Like no one's really, I mean, other than when they've like brought down financial systems, no one's really like monitoring that or doing anything about it. And when I actually saw chain, the same event at the end of the story includes that when I saw chain analysis talk, they were talking about FTX. And they were just like, someone asked them like, so did you see anything going on? And I mean, I don't know how honest their answer is. They're basically like, yeah, after we could go back and see, but not before. And that's like one of the more powerful, systems. But in that same conference, I actually went up to someone from like the largest crypto hedge fund. And I was like, hey, I've been trying to like research where the aggregate options demand is. How do you do it? And this like senior like tech person just laughed at me and was like,
that's not good.
It was like you don't do that. Nobody does that.
No.
And they went on to say like, actually, like instead of analyzing that, we've actually found it more effective to just throw a bunch of money at something that we want the direction to move instead of trying to figure out what direction. He's like, that's a much better way.
That was a fancy way of him saying that, George, we just like to degen instead. It's better that way. But hey, it's strategic degenning, right?
If we throw $1 billion at it, like other people buy.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's hilarious stuff. Gosh. Well, amazing stuff, George. This has been a pleasure having you on. Always fun having you on the live streams. I want to share this out for the stream and everybody in the chat one more time. This link is pinned in the chat. If you guys want to get on here, look at all the investment information, I highly recommend. A lot of pretty much the whole Wolf team has invested in this, so you're not alone. You're investing, with the people that you're trading with every day. if you do decide to. But I just think it's a no-brainer, especially if you're using Prospero, to at least look into the information here and see if it's something that's worth it for you. But I think at a $250 minimum investment to be able to own a company that you're probably using every single day to help you make money in the market, I mean, might as well take advantage of it. What is it? Emp always says we're trading AI, using AI to help us trade AI, and we're gonna invest in AI off of the money we've made off of the AI trades. A lot of AI talk there, but it all comes full circle. And I know Emp, he actually just recently, you guys know, but I'll talk about it again. He hit that Baidu play recently, which was a banger. He hit, I think it was like 700% on options, maybe more. Emp, you might be able to correct me in the chat. But that was just phenomenal. And that was sheerly off Prospero. We were chilling one afternoon, and he was like, Baidu looks really good on the long-term and the short-term signals. That's made this base for a while. And he's like, I think it's going to break out now. I was lining up with Emp's technicals. And so we took the shot. And what do you know? He hit 700% in like a week and a half. And he took all that money and just said, you know what? I'm buying Prospero. And so he bought more equity in Prospero. So just love to see it come full circle like that. And just know you guys are, you guys have people that are invested alongside with you as well, because we believe in the company. So I hope you guys do too. And hope you guys take a look at the information. It's worth it. So George, I don't know if you have any other thoughts for the crew here, but this is a pleasure having you on. Do you have any other last comments you want to leave everybody with?
Thanks for having me on. Like, yeah, I would leave you with it. If you tune in later, whatever, I would say, like, user, whatever, go read the reviews. Like, if you don't want to invest, it's probably going to tell you, like, not only how many different kinds of people use it, but you might get ideas on how to use it yourself, because there's a lot of examples in there. So I was like, if I leave you with nothing else, go to the crowdfund, go read the reviews. And then, yeah, what I always tell the people, in these things is like, if you want, discount codes or free trials of things, like, you can always email me, george@prospero.ai. I'm also just happy to advise you on the best way to manage your portfolio. I always like to help people, teach people. And then, yeah, like, the one thing that I always say to people other than that is, like, if you haven't tried Prospero, use it for a month, download the app, look at net option sentiment for the stocks you're considering, QQQ, SPY, net option sentiment. When you're looking at entries and exits, see if you can't look at our picks, see if they can get you some good ideas. Like, I don't think you'll come back to me in a month and say that it hasn't made you better. I've been saying that for a long time. Nobody's come back and said to me that it hasn't made them better. So give that a try. Come back and tell me I'm wrong. I would love to hear it for the first time.
I know. Couldn't agree more. Well, yeah, everybody for sure get on the app if you haven't. The app's 100% free. Obviously, take a look at the investment information as well. And I think that's going to do it for this stream. But George, again, always a pleasure having you on. I'm sure we'll have you on again soon. And for the audience, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Wolf Trading YouTube channel. We'll be back tomorrow for the Friday live stream. So we'll see everybody then. I think Emp's going to start it up with Evan and everybody, and then I'll be popping in around 10 o'clock a.m. So we'll see everybody then. Enjoy the evening. We'll wrap up the week tomorrow. Peace out, guys.
Thanks. Bye.